like to just take a moment to acknowledge the life of Alex Preddy. He was a VA nurse. For us that have used the VA, we are lucky to have men and women like him who take care of us in some very, very tough times. And it's a sad situation that he was murdered. But let's remember for his dedication. Remember him for his dedication to his country and to many of us veterans that use services with the help of people like him. Moving into Arizona, where I worry about my veterans there, there's a new 30,000 square foot VA medical facility in Yuma set to open by summer of 2027. We talk about overrepresentation of veterans. That's a big community there, and it's rural also. It's supposed to provide comprehensive local care for veterans and reduce the need for travel. So services will include primary care, women's health, therapy, lab and imaging, optometry, and audiology, all in one location, which is great. However, under the new staffing caps, the Yuma facility would not be able to hire any new staff. Their only option would have to be pulled from other understaffed hospitals, and Arizona is still a growing state. So how can you guarantee that veterans in Yuma will be able to get medical care if these staffing caps are still existing? And how can I look at my constituents in the eye and tell them that this VA does not really understand that you're going to be essentially robbing Peter to pay Paul and potentially not creating a fully functioning system in one place and or another place?
Yeah, Senator, you're one of the reasons I think an underlying secondary reason, if you look at it, your state along with the whole Southern is why we're doing this reorganization. And Mr. Goins talked about that a minute ago. I'd like him to explain that a little bit further, how we can actually reallocate assets for those things.
So I know you're talking about Arizona, and I know that's important to you, but I'm going to use a couple other examples where we have a similar effect. Nashville, Tennessee is one of the fastest growing markets in the country, along with the areas of Arizona that you've discussed, along with that whole southeastern Sun Belt area. The problem we've experienced in the past is because we have not created a system that ultimately aligns resources in the way Mark described, a Manning document, if you will, with the overall demand and needs for those growth areas. We have created pockets where we have far too many, in theory, resources. We've got to take our time to make sure that those are allocated appropriately on an enterprise level so that we can then reallocate resources in places where veterans are moving. And we know that happens to be in that same market. Veterans are a microcosm of society. So as a result, the goal is not to take what you saw go out saying this, again, based on what Mark said, this is based on overall needs of the system and use that in perpetuity. Over time, that changes. And if we see a higher need in a market like Arizona or Nashville, et cetera, some of those high-growth markets, then the expectation is, as an enterprise, we don't ask local markets to rob Peter to pay Paul. It's about assigning resources.
So, and just to further that, the question is an issue of timeliness then, because it's good in theory, but then government's not known for making decisions quickly, nor big bureaucracies. So we're going to be opening up that VA facility at the same time you're starting this new process, and what I fear is there's going to be just an absolute drop of that. Now, moving on, kind of also related to that. So as of 2 weeks ago, the average wait time for new VA patients for individual mental health appointments in Arizona was 51 days. And I don't have to tell you guys, especially from my personal experience, when people have problems, we need to get them in to see somebody. The national average was around 35 days. So what is happening in Arizona that we have that 16-day difference, and also growing from what I understand, which is could be extremely dangerous, to prevent the veteran suicide or other problems.
So in short, I'm not showing, again, I think there's a discrepancy in what you guys are presenting and what was presented earlier from Senator Blumenthal. I'm not showing the current national average of what you just said.
What is your natural average?
New patients or established patients?
New patients.
New patients are at 18.8 days as of yesterday.
And for Arizona?
I don't have Arizona sitting in front of me, but I can look at that and we can get back to you. Now, here's what I'll tell you. In almost every single market where we have extremely high velocity of growth for veterans, the wait times are more challenging there than anywhere else in the country.
No, I understand that, but then now you have this program where you have caps and you're not going to be able to necessarily react into the timely manner when you have, if you want to call it market demand. And, unlike, business, what you're talking about is potentially lives of veterans that are on the, knife's edge of suicide. So, these are all really good MBA ideas, but when you're actually dealing with real people, this gets very dangerous. And
Senator, let me I agree with you, but let me also just point out a fact that we're looking at we talk about FTE calculations, we saw with the numbers. In Phoenix itself, the number was 24% FTE growth over the last 5 years, 11% contact with the patient. So 11% not only went up 11%, 24% FTE growth. In Northern Arizona, 39% FTE growth at, again, only 11% actual contact. Southern Arizona, 18-2. These are showing that we can, and this is why we need this system to be able to move people where they need to so that we can handle areas such as yours. So
Look,
again, I know it's all in the middle, but we're working.
Right, so FTE doesn't necessarily mean that's the appropriate people that are actually dealing with mental health. It could be the janitor, things of that nature.
Exactly.
So I just want to make sure.
Hit while we're doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not sure it's working in the way in a timely manner that's going to bring services to the people as they need it.
If I could say real time, because it is somewhat sticky, right? I said earlier, private sector, they just lay people off. We're not going to do that. So over time, we have to do it kind of through attrition where it makes sense. In the meantime, what we have told our facilities and our network directors, if there is a critical need related to direct clinical care, put your hand in the air, give us a call, and we will make sure that you have the resources that are needed to care for veterans.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, they're going to need that in Yuma right away. It's hard and difficult to get people to move there because it is a desert, it is rural, so it's going to be extremely difficult to get people to volunteer to move there, and I think it's critical that you get ahead of that and not wait for a demand signal to come.
Thank you, Senator, for bringing it up.